I want to talk to you guys today about the struggle. Be right back. Okay, I'm back. The struggle. Men, we're going through it. We're going through it, and we're going to continue to go through this. There'll always be something that comes up in our lives that will challenge us. We'll question everything. We'll wonder, why are we going through this? Why me? But that shouldn't be the question. It should be, what is this teaching me? What am I going to learn as a result of this? What kind of man will I be when I come out the other side? These are the questions, and this will also help you get through these times. I'll give you an example. I came to Dubai 2 years ago, and I originally came here to be in a relationship with someone, which didn't work out. But I had no job. I was building my coaching business and the work that I'm doing now, and some of you guys will have worked with me already. It has been the most difficult 2 years of my life, because when you don't have a steady income, you don't have your friends, you don't have your family, you don't have even somewhere to live, bouncing around between this person, this hotel, and I'm grateful for people that have really helped me out. If it wasn't for them, I don't know what I'd be doing or where I'd be, to be honest. And for those of you listening, you know who you are. Thank you. But the one thing that got me through all of this was this undeniable belief that all of this was going to be worth it. Every single hard moment, and I mean even just moments where I didn't know what I was going to eat. I didn't know what I was going to eat. And for my family listening, I didn't tell you because you would have not liked what you heard and you would have been really worried. But everything always works out. When you're backed against a corner, you find a way. You find a way. When things are too easy, you become comfortable. And I'm not saying life should be hard all the time and we have to always be in a place of adversity. No, but when life does present us with adversity, it gives us an opportunity to be better, to learn something, to grow. And there was a day, and I remember I had barely any money in my account. No one was working with me. I had no coaching clients. There was no income coming in at all. I was really struggling. I was living off, I think, eggs and paratha at the time. Thankfully, I was living with someone who's really been just a godsend, really. But I spoke to my dad that day, and I was telling him how I was feeling, and I just felt really emotional. I could feel this feeling in my throat, like all day. I did have one PT client that morning, and again, I was personal training. That's not what my main vocation is, right? But I was doing personal training. I had one client. I saw him that morning, and I did not want to go anywhere that day. I wanted to stay home. I wanted to go into bed. I wanted to cover myself and just not get out. I just felt so low. This was February last year, to 2022 February, and it was a Sunday. I remember this day. I just felt so low. I think I was triggered by something I read or saw online, and it just sent my mind into a whole place of, what am I doing? Who do I think I am? Trying to start a whole new life in a different country, trying to start a business with no experience, just kind of winging it as I go along. And I spoke to a friend of mine who is a coach as well, and she said to me, maybe you're not meant to be a coach. Maybe you're not meant to be a life coach or a men's coach. And it hit me so hard, because that's exactly what I was thinking. But she said it so casually, and I was on the brink of like tears. I felt so overwhelmed by everything going on around me. I felt so useless as a person. I felt worthless as a man. I didn't know what to do. So I hung up the phone, and this is me now just moving on, I don't know, intuition. I went to my room, I turned off all the lights, I lit some incense, I put on some music, which was like drumming, tribal music. It was actually called Ikaros music, which was from the Amazonian tribes, which they play during the ayahuasca ceremonies. And I don't know why I put it on, I just put it on. Like I said, I closed all the curtains, I turned the lights off, I took off like any tight clothing, and as soon as I hit the bed, I started crying. And I cried, and I'm not even ashamed to say it. No one should be ashamed to say this. Crying is completely fine, but it's really been the first time I've cried, like really cried. for so many years. And I just let it all out. I said things, I spoke out loud, I cried, I don't know, I looked in the mirror. I just watched myself crying, and I just asked myself questions like, what am I doing here? Who am I? What am I supposed to do? All of these questions, and every thought that I had in my head, I just said it out loud. Again, I don't know why I did this. I just followed whatever felt was needed. I followed whatever felt was needed and just did it. And then I had a vision of shaving my beard. It was a bit thicker than this. And I started crying. I was like, why? Why do you want me to shave my beard? I don't understand. And it felt like it was telling me to just, well, I don't know what, when I say it, I don't know what. Something was telling me just to start again, to start fresh. And I don't know how long this evening went on for, or how long I cried for, but I woke up the next day. I went straight to the bathroom and I shaved. I felt like a whole new man. I think it was a mixture of the release plus the action of shedding something, shedding an older part of myself. And I felt so light. I felt so, I don't know, I just felt like I could do anything. That same day I received a message on Instagram from a page, I think it was called Manolo84. His name is Manny. And the message said, I hear that I've got some competition. I love the work that you're doing. Let's have a chat. This guy is one of the co-founders of a podcast called the Mentality Podcasts. And for some of you will know that I'm also part of this team. And he said, we're running an event called Men Don't Cry. And seeing as you're working in the space and you're a men's coach, we'd love to have you on and maybe for you to host it. And I could not believe it. But wow, the night before I was bawling my eyes out. I'm an advocate for expression, especially with men. I was wondering what to do with my life, and that, you know, I felt lonely and all everything and all in one place. And this man comes out of nowhere and offers me this. I met him. I told him the story. He said, this is divine intervention. It was supposed to happen this way. And now 1 year later, we're still working together. And that for me was the beginning, or a reminder that I'm on the right path and I'm doing the right thing. And I say this to say, believe in yourself, believe in the struggle. Know that everything you're going through is teaching you something and is leading you somewhere. You just have to take the sign. You have to trust yourself. You have to trust your gut, trust your intuition, and just know that everything's going to be okay. But you have to take action. Now, in that instance, I just let my body do the talking. I just followed what my body said that it needed to do, and that's why I can't even explain to you why I turned the lights off, why I put the music on, why I lit the incense, anything. I can't tell you why. It just felt right. And the next day, seeing that message just affirmed to me that, Adil, you're doing the right thing. Follow this path. You're meant to be doing this work with guys. The event was a great success, and I'm part of a team that's leading the way with conversations that empower men, difficult conversations that men and women need to be having. And I couldn't be more grateful for everything in the way that it turned out. But that same day, I almost decided to go home, back to London. I almost booked a ticket and gave up on everything. And there's no shame in deciding anything like that. But I know that deep down, I would have regretted it. I would have regretted it because I knew that what is the point going through all of this only to give up now? I've been through so much hardship in these last 2 years, it wouldn't make any sense to stop. So for those of you that are going through something, have been through something, or are probably going to go through something difficult in the future, try to look for the lessons. Try to feel, or at least imagine what you would feel and how you would feel when you get through this. What can you learn along the way? How can you become more resilient? How can you embrace the journey? How can you make yourself and build yourself into a better person, a better man that can handle whatever life is throwing at you? And I know that times do get hard. Lean on people. I probably could have leaned on a few more people. I probably could have asked for advice or help or spoken to someone. And just on that day, the two people that I spoke with, they just spoke some harsh truths. And they were harsh because of the way that I took it, but they were truth. But I knew that it was their truth, not mine. And that's where it comes back down to that trust, that gut intuition. So whatever you take from this, I hope that you understand that your greatest gift probably hasn't even been gifted to the world yet. There's so much that you are capable of if you just trust yourself and dig a little bit deep. Allow yourself to feel that hardship allows us to gain broader shoulders. And good things come to those who put in the work, persevere, and trust themselves. I'm not really a fan of good things come to those who wait, because I do believe in being patient, but you can't wait around and do nothing. I had really no idea how this conversation is going to go between me and you and me and me. But in this episode of Man Cave, it's all about embracing the journey. And there's something called the hero's journey, which if you imagine any of these hero films, they typically follow a similar format. Imagine the story of Lord of the Rings. Guy living a peaceful life. Suddenly he gets visited by someone. He says, you need to go on this quest. And he says, nope, I am happy in the Shire. I don't want to go anywhere. And then he changes his mind and says, no, actually, I need to go on this quest. And he goes on the quest with this wizard, with this wise elder. And along the way, there's hardship. There's things that he has to learn. There's people he has to fight. There's a short win, a big loss. There's almost like a gift from someone else that almost allows him to power up. I think in Lord of the Rings it was like a sword and an elixir, and a bit of motivation from either the wizard or this other elf. And then the final battle, and then the win, and then the return back home. And I like this analogy of the hero's journey because we can apply it to any part of our life and think, what part of the hero's journey am I on right now? What's coming next? And what do I need to do to get to move through it? And whenever I'm going through a hard time, the hero's journey, you could look it up, Google it, something, just so you can see it. It really just helps. It really helps to get you through some of the hard times. But for me, the biggest thing, and people ask me, like, how are you able to live like this? How are you able to live month to month without consistency right now and just keep going? Still be creative, still show up, still working with others, still coaching people and knowing that you're going on your own journey. It's because I believe in myself. I really wholeheartedly believe in what I'm doing. I'm recording this podcast against the wall in my apartment. Like, so what? You know, things don't have to be perfect. You just got to start. Just start. And this is a lesson that I'm saying out loud to myself. I'm hoping that someone takes this away from them as well. Just start something. Do something. You're going to regret not doing something more than doing something and maybe not being great at it, but becoming better. And this is what I'm doing. I'm learning as I go along. And I guess my final message for you guys is embrace the suck. As who says that? Is it David Goggins? I don't know. Hardship doesn't mean it's bad. Okay? There's good things coming. You are a gifted individual. There's so much for you to give to this world. Do not give up before you've even started. Embrace the pain. Find out what the lessons are. Find out how you can overcome it. And draw on your community. Draw on your friends, your family, your partners. People that can just be the support. But also remember that you can do this. And not everyone's going to be on your side. But there's always someone rooting for you. And if there aren't many people around you rooting for you, you've got to root for yourself. You have to be in your corner. Yes. Yes. I have no idea what I'm going to call this podcast. Anyway. This is my man cave. This is me just getting raw and vulnerable with you guys. And I feel empowered for doing so. I want this podcast to be one which is raw and authentic. And I will have people with me sometimes having these conversations, but I want to keep it as authentic as possible. And it will be, actually, it will be authentic. Because I typically speak from the heart. And that's what I encourage you guys to do, is speak from the heart, feel from the heart. And there's no shame in it. There's no shame at all. My name is Adil. Thank you for listening to this podcast. And yeah. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Comment, share, tag, all the above. But I'd love to hear your thoughts more than anything else. So if you're going for something right now, feel free to reach out, feel free to comment in the comment section. And let's go through this together. But just know that you can get through this, and you will. And when you get to the other side, it will all make sense. Hindsight is 2020. So just believe that. And know that when you've looked back in the past and you wasn't sure what was happening or why it was happening, if you look at it from now, you think, that's why it happened. That's why it happened. Look where I am now as a result of what I went through. So trust the process. Peace.